What is up guys, and welcome back to another My Team Career Mode episode. And today we're going to Canada. But first let's check out this chassis department event.
We've got an issue we'd like your input on.
Okay, so the team is asking whether they can improve the chassis facility. They want to improve it by adding more recreational areas. And that'll boost the chassis department morale by 20%, but it'll cost us 50k. And if we decide to decline, then it doesn't cost us anything, but we don't get a morale boost. So I'm just gonna go ahead and agree.
The department wants me to pass on their thanks for helping out.
So with that issue settled, let's check out our facilities. And I think I'm gonna go and upgrade my durability facility to Spec 2 now. Let's reduce the build time. That way the durability upgrades will be completed 40% faster. Nice. Okay, here we are looking at the aero upgrades. And I'm gonna go with some more front wing downforce. Hopefully this one will be completed before the Austrian Grand Prix. Now let's see if we can also get some upgrades in the other departments. I haven't upgraded my brakes yet, so let's do that. That one will be completed right before the French Grand Prix. Okay, and finally let's start an engine upgrade for more fuel efficiency. Hopefully it doesn't fail because there's a 31% failure chance. Okay, that was quite a lot of upgrading. Let's go to the race weekend now. Okay, this is gonna be interesting. Qualifying is gonna be wet, but the race is going to be dry. So I'm going to go for a dry setup and hope for the best in quali. Let's see how that goes. P6 with a dry setup in the wet. That's not too bad. We will have the right setup for the race, so we must be able to move further towards the front. Let's go to the race.
Bonjour! It's time once again to go racing here in Montreal, the second largest French-speaking city in the world, and home since 1978 to the Canadian Grand Prix. We'll be seeing top speeds of around 210 miles an hour here at the Circuit Gilles Villeneuve, with around 2/3 of the lap taken at full throttle. High-speed chicanes spell potential danger, especially at the infamous Wall of Champions. And watch out for overtaking into the hairpin and the final chicane. With the Grand Prix nearly upon us, Anthony Davidson is by my side once again to offer his perspective. Let's talk about Jackson. What do you make of their performance so far this season?
They've been avoiding mistakes and have had solid pace, so it's been a good season so far, but whether they can keep that up long term remains to be seen.
It's time to take a look at our starting grid for today's race. Lewis Hamilton lines up on pole position, edging out Max Verstappen, who'll start from P2. Moving on to the rest of the grid, we have Tsunoda, Perez, Pierre Gasly, Jackson, Leclerc, Massa, Bottas, and Lando Norris. Sainz, Ricciardo, Fernando Alonso, and Ocon. Vettel, Russell, Mick Schumacher, and Lance Stroll. Giovinazzi, Latifi, Lundgaard, and Nikita Mazepin. It's almost time for those 5 red lights to go out. Then let's see who can prevail today.
Everything looks good on the power unit cycle, so let's concentrate on bringing tyres and brakes up to temperature. Keep an eye on the lights. The start sequence will begin as soon as the grid has formed. Be ready with the clutch. P6, we have P6. Sonoda is ahead of you. Less than a second separate you. They're on fresh softs. Leclerc is behind you. The gap is less than a second. They're on fresh softs. The gap to the leader is 3.3 seconds. Pit window will open in 10 laps time. Pit window opens in 10 laps. 34 laps to go. OK, DRS is now available. Tsunoda ahead. Less than a second separate you. They're on old softs. We think they've got 2 stops remaining. The time last lap was a 1 minute 11.3. You're gaining by 1/10 a lap. Gasly is ahead of you. Our gap to the car in front is 1.8 seconds. They're on old softs. Their tyres are 4 laps old. We think they've got 2 stops remaining. The time last lap was a 1:11.0. We're slower by 9/10 a lap. The gap to the car ahead is 1.7 seconds. Check your MFD for a new strategy option. Copy. P5, you're in P5. Gasly ahead. The gap is less than a second. They're on old softs. Tsunoda is behind you. The gap to the car behind is 2.3 seconds. They're on old softs. The distance to the leader is 4.2 seconds. Pit window will open in 3 laps time. Pit window opens in 3 laps. 27 laps to go. We're approaching the pit window. You'll be on the mediums. Okay, good work. Great pass. No issues with tyre wear for now. Keep taking care of them. Box, box. We're coming in this lap. Go, go, go. P7, 7th place. Leclerc ahead, less than a second separate you. They're on fresh mediums. Tsunoda behind. Our gap behind is 1.1 seconds. They're on fresh mediums. Okay, gap to leader, 12.9 seconds. Pit window opens in 12 laps time. 12 laps, 23 laps to go. Gasly is ahead of you. Gap to car in front is 1.8 seconds. They're on fresh mediums. Their tyres are 3 laps old. We think they've got one more stop. The time last lap was a 1 minute 10.6. Felipe is coming in for his stop. pushing, you're gaining on the car ahead. Tsunoda is behind you. The gap is less than a second. They're on old mediums. Their tyres are 5 laps old. We think they've got one more stop. The time last lap was a 1:10.9. Okay, gap ahead is 1.9 seconds. We're leading our teammate by 5.7 seconds. You have P5, P5. Gasly ahead. Our gap to the car in front is 1.4 seconds. They're on old mediums. Tsunoda is behind you. Okay, the gap behind is 1.4 seconds. They're on old mediums. Our gap to first place is 8.2 seconds. Okay, we're monitoring somewhere on the ICE. Be aware that we will start to see a loss of power. A new strategy is available on the MFD. Copy that. You're increasing the gap on the car behind by 0.5 per lap. move. Good job. Perez is ahead of you. The gap to the car ahead is 1.5 seconds. They're on old mediums. Their tyres are 9 laps old. We think they've got one more stop. The time last lap was a 1 minute 11.4. You're gaining by 0.3 a lap. Good work. We're accumulating some wear on the MGUK. To manage this, we'll need to lower our ERS deployment mode. You're lapping around a second faster than the car ahead. Keep this up. We're approaching the pit window. You'll be on the softs. You are in first position, front of the pack. Perez is behind you, less than a second separate you. They're on old mediums. Your pit window opens in 2 laps time. 13 laps to go. Push now. We're boxing this lap. Complete, go now. Okay, stay clear of the white line on the exit. You'll receive a penalty for dangerous driving if you cross over into the track. P5, you're in P5. Perez ahead. Gap to car in front is 1.5 seconds. They're on fresh mediums. Gasly behind. The gap is less than a second. They're on fresh mediums. The gap to the leader is 11.1 seconds. Pit strategy complete. See these tyres through to the end now. There are 10 laps to go. Okay, gap ahead is 1.5 seconds. Felipe's in the pits, Felipe in the pits. The fastest lap at this point in time is a 1:09.9. Gap to teammate behind is 14.1 seconds. Okay, so all of our tyre pressure data is reading 0 at the moment. Assuming they still look inflated to you, we're going to guess it's just a bad sensor. Shouldn't be anything to worry about. Our gap to the car in front is 9.2 seconds. P3, Verstappen ahead. The gap to the car ahead is 8.9 seconds. They're on old mediums. Perez is behind you. Less than a second separate you. They're on old mediums. The distance to the leader is 10.1 seconds. That was our last stop. No more scheduled pit stops. 6 laps to go. We're starting to catch the car in front, but we need to look after the tyres. We won't be making another pit stop. There's 5 laps of fuel remaining. Verstappen is ahead of you. Gap to car in front is 8.3 seconds. They're on old mediums. Their tyres are 8 laps old. The time last lap was a 1 minute 10.6. Okay, gap ahead is 7.8 seconds. Perez behind. The gap behind us is 0.9 seconds. They're on old mediums. Their tyres are 8 laps old. The time last lap was a 1:10.6. There's 4 laps of fuel remaining. P3. You are currently in P3. Verstappen ahead. Our gap to the car in front is 7.2 seconds. They're on old mediums. Perez behind. The gap to the car behind is 1.2 seconds. They're on old mediums. Okay, gap to leader, 9.5 seconds. Look after these tyres now. We want to finish the race on this compound. 2 laps left. Next time by will be your final lap. The gap to the car ahead is 6.8 seconds. Some information on Gasly. They have some kind of mechanical problem. We've only got 2 laps of fuel left. This is your final lap of the race. Nice work, you did well today. I think the boss will be happy with that one.
That's it then for another magnificent Canadian Grand Prix, and they've hung on to take a sublime victory here today. Talk to me, Ants. What was it that set them apart from the competition today?
I think that smart tyre management on track and very smooth driving definitely assisted in their victory today. That combination meant they got the absolute maximum out of their tyres at all times.
After an excellent performance at the Grand Prix, I'm sure there'll be plenty of celebrations tonight amongst the Mercedes team, and they certainly deserve it. It's a great result for Lewis Hamilton, who moves further ahead at the top of the table. After an incredible day of racing, who was your driver of the day, Ant?
I have to give it to Jackson. That was a commanding performance today. Very impressive indeed.
It's time to check out the constructors' standings. Mercedes continue to extend their lead. Meanwhile, good work from Aston Martin this weekend, who pushed themselves further up the order. And with that, we wrap up another weekend of motorsport. But with more races lined up, be sure to join us when we come back with more Formula One.